Welcome back, everybody. Derrick Soo, your East Oakland advocate. Well, it is a scam season, year-end scam season, and they try and mix things in with legitimate charities out here and try and defraud you of money. And I've seen the uptick this week, just in my rejected phone calls on my iPhone, and it's uncanny of what the scammers are doing. And I'm getting flooded with um, creditors also saying that I owe money, and I I know what's on my credit history. I know my legal rights, and that's the important thing with credit and credit cards, because if you are financially upside down in the credit world, uh, you have a problem, because there's only a couple of ways out. Number one, you either pay off all the debt, which if you're in debt already, it makes it very challenging, and then paying everything off. If the average person, and from what I hear, carries a little over ten to $12,000 of debt on their credit cards. Uh, and that's a lot of debt to be carrying, and nowadays interest rates hovering anywhere from 30 up to 35, 36%. That's insane, giving your money to the banks or other institutions. And so right now, a lot of scams are going on. The biggest one right now are the credit cards, because uh, practically everybody has credit cards, and I get calls from years ago when I had some credit issues. Everybody had at one time has had some sort of credit issues or a mark on their credit history, and that that's true for everybody, no matter who you are and no matter how much money you make. You're going to have a black mark here and there, but then they fall off, and that's what has happened. But yet, here's the thing: um, creditors have up to 2 years to satisfy a debt, and then, but typically after the first year, they write it off as uncollectible, and so that goes into essentially a, a pile that gets sold down line to other agencies as uncollectible debt. And so they buy these uncollectible debts by the hundreds and thousands for pennies on the dollar, hoping that they can collect on that old obsolete debt, even though it's still on your credit record, because on your credit record, um, a black mark, non-payment, or uh, a collection will stay on your credit history up to 7 years. Maximum is 7 years, but typically they start falling off at 5. And so that's the magic number now, folks. 5 years. 5 years. All if you didn't make a payment and you had creditors chasing you, um, and here's the thing: if you are able to break all contact with those creditors, those um, people that you owe money to, and change telephone numbers, you change address, and then after that 5 year period, it's it's impossible for them to do anything legally to you, because legally there's nothing they can do. They can threaten you, which is pretty common. They threaten you with all sorts of lies, telling you that they're going to have you arrested, which uh, doesn't happen. They tell you, we're going to have you arrested. Tell them, go ahead. And uh, because for a while there, they get really aggressive, and they threaten you with all sorts of things. They're going to show up at your door. They're going to show up at your work. Well, if you don't have work, like a lot of people right now, who cares? If you show up at my door, you're going to get shot. Uh, so things like that. That's what's happening these days. And so it's crazy. It is crazy. Getting back to the scams now, one of the things that you can do to protect yourself is put blocks on your phone, your cell phone. You don't have to pick it up, folks. You really don't. And breaking that habit for some people it is difficult. I understand that. Because when I first started not answering phones, it was very difficult because I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to miss out on a friend or a phone call or anything. But folks, that's why they have voicemail. People can leave a message on your voicemail, say, hey, call me back. And that's the intent of what I use voicemail to screen all my calls. In fact, the announcement when my phone picks up doesn't even mention my name. So that's the important thing. If you have if you're having creditors chasing you, number one, you need to change your telephone number. Two, on your voicemail, on your announcement when it picks up, you do not put your name on there. In fact, you don't even use your voice. All the voicemail systems now have a generic, and that's what you use. It'll give the telephone number, doesn't give any names, leave a message, and that's it. It's a very generic announcement, and that's all that I have on there. You don't want any clues, no tips for them to know who owns the line or who's has possession of the line, that telephone line. Then also, the first thing that you do, if you were dumb enough to pick up the telephone, do not acknowledge anything. And the most dangerous word that you're going to say if they trick you is the word yes. Never say yes to anything. If they answer, or when you answer and they pick up, then they'll introduce themselves. I'm so and so, and I'm trying to reach so and so. At that time, you do not acknowledge. Don't say yes. Don't say no. In fact, just hang up. It's simple as that. You don't have to talk to them, and that's probably the simplest way to do it. Put a call block on that number, because I have thousands. I mean, the list is extensive because there's so many scammers out there. They try and use all sorts of tricks. They also put in fake names. So, like my Verizon account, if a call comes in and it's a verified person, it'll have a check mark right next to the name. So it's been verified that that is a legitimate name and person. But even that, if you don't recognize the name, don't pick it up. Simple as that. That's why use your voicemail, use your call screening features that come with your phone, and this safeguards you, because also now there are scammers out there preying on those of you with children, trying to say that they'll make random calls, and there's a lot of you out there that have children that are school age or even in high school, and while they're at school, these scammers make those calls and trick you into thinking that they have your kid. They even have a voice that sounds like your kid, because if they have AI, they can duplicate the sound patterns of any of your children, any of your relatives, or anything. And so that's why I say, do not pick up the phone these days. Use the voicemail feature, use your call block feature. This time of year, a lot of scams are going on. IRS scams are starting to pop up, and they'll become more prevalent as we move into the new year. Police charity scams are prevalent. I donate to nobody that calls. I literally donate to nobody because if they're phoning me, 9 out of 10 times it's a scam, and it's a way to get your account number. Once they have your account number, they're going to drain it. And we hear horror stories, especially on seniors like myself these days, because we're home. We're a lot of times by ourselves. We're lonely, and we're hoping that the phone picks up or rings so that there might be a chance of conversation with another human. And so that's what the scammers rely on. So folks, be careful. This is scammers are out there. They are looking to fleece you, especially these last few days of 2023 with all the charitable donations. Thanks for joining me today. Stay safe. Don't get scammed.